Hey guys, Shinlock's here, back with our blind playthrough of Riven. So last time we found, I think we found both or two fire marble domes. I think that was we found the one on the Temple Island, and then we found the one on the Crater Island. And the whole checking behind the doors thing, like that's legit. Like that's I honestly don't know how I feel about that. Um, because it's like, is it a puzzle? Maybe, but it definitely is more. I mean, it's definitely not a puzzle in the traditional sense, but it definitely challenges your perceptions and expectations, right? Because no one thinks like, oh, maybe. I mean, I'm sure if you've played a lot of puzzles, you probably do assume that there's something hidden behind the door, or you never know, but you would check. But man, I imagine that would just trip up all kinds of people. All right, so let's take a look at. Is this? Oh, okay. Well, hang on. Three. Okay. So my paper is getting kind of messy, but we'll say, okay, so we'll say, three, which is one. Okay. And I'm sure it's an actual animal noise also, right? Probably. Say Crater Island. Crater. Crater Island. Gehen's lab. Who knows? Okay. Okay, last week while monitoring the situation of the villagers from the scope in my survey room, I observed one of the natives swim out to a small object that appeared to be floating, but anchored near the entrance to the bay. I ordered the object removed from the water for inspection. Several days later... Wait. Floating but anchored near the entrance to the bay. Ordered the object removed from the water for inspection. Several days later, however, I was surprised to see another floating there. The missing object had apparently and quite mysteriously been replaced with a new one overnight. I've long been aware of the existence of similar artifacts on the villagers' island, but I've paid them little notice until now. Tomorrow I shall send surveyors to catalog the others. Weird, so this is not... Wait, something floating there. So this is the one that was floating in the bay. Weird. From the jungle island, maybe. Okay. Weird. Okay. It's like tea? Is this a teapot? I have no idea what this is. Ink and a pen. Or is this part of the... where he gets his ink from? Interesting. A wood-bound book. That's awesome. Oh, that was crazy. And interesting that he's got, like, water stains on it. Okay, latest ink formulation has proven a failure. Even when writing in my most promising books, I obtain only the barest glimmer of a connection. It is frustrating to expend so much effort creating a blank book, only to end up destroying it when it doesn't work. There are days when the lab is uncomfortably warm from the flames of these failed attempts. Was there one of the things we saw? Was it books burning? No, I don't think so. The further I refine such each element, the formulation of the inks and papers, the physical dimensions of the books, the more I realize the list of potential combinations is nearly infinite. It is during moments like these, that I despair. Without access to Denis, my long-term goals may never be accomplished. Nevertheless, there are avenues of research which remain to be explored. You know, I really wonder if the Mist books are... I wonder if they're good. And I was reading something about, like, were there sequels, and I know there was... I could have sworn there was, like, a Mist 4. Mist 3 and 4, but they also did some weird thing where it was like they were creating their own engine, like Dart, the Dart engine or something with Denis. Oh, okay, cool. It just doesn't... I'm discontinuing regular observations of the stars beneath the fissure. The stars beneath the fissure. Although I've been able to track the dark cloud-like formations that migrate through the starfield and have proven that their paths are cyclical, without proper instrumentation it is pointless to continue. My general theory concerning the nature of the fissure has remained unaltered since it first appeared. It seems the fabric of this age has been breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between two discrete but overlapping spaces. Much like a link, but the apparent physical contradictions surrounding this juncture defy logical reason. The great column of wind that was formed when the fissure first appeared suggests a vacuum as one might expect in space, yet my early experimentations revealed the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atris and Catherine threw themselves into the void is further evidence that it might be safe to travel. Without knowing its true nature, I cannot take the risk myself. It is also difficult to say what would happen if I were to reopen it after so long. But it is likely the results would be catastrophic given the changes that have occurred in this age since that time. Maintenance on the stream vent caps completed 8-10 or 83-10. I'm extremely pleased with the continued success of this system. I believe the construction have been true to the Denis designs of my memory. Another example of the superiority of the Denis technology. It's ironic that Atris and Catherine unwittingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. Steam, I suppose, but also this thing... Is that like the ice cream cone thing that we were looking at before with the lid and the little punch things? As with many of my views over the years, my thoughts regarding the origin of the fissure have changed. I wonder if we're going to see it. I feel like there's so much that we're being told about that we haven't seen. I've recently begun to wonder whether it was actually an unexpected byproduct of the changes Catherine and Atris wrote into this age during their escape. Certainly by casting their linking book into the void, they trapped me here quite effectively, but I do not believe that Atris intended the book to be lost in this manner. Much better to destroy it than to risk the possibility of it falling into unknown hands. Also, had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they would surely have thought the vacuum it created would eventually consume the atmosphere of this planet, a fate which Catherine undoubtedly would have deemed unacceptable for her home world. Oh. That's weird. Okay, so I assume Riven was created by books. So, did, like, by Gehn. And then I think Atris, he said his father is Gehn, right? So did he fall in love with one of the creations? Like, because they're real people, presumably, but that's interesting. If I had not been there to supervise the construction of the seal, this is most certainly what would have happened, for the villagers were far too frightened to even approach the vortex without my urging. I hold onto the belief that it was an unintended consequence of their writing for another reason as well. I prefer to think that my son had meant for this age to be merely a prison for me rather than a death sentence. 83.514. The construction of the images has proceeded without fault. Imagers. It is interesting to see how easily I've been able to adapt the Denis technology to mimic that of the Ahmad. In some ways, the similarities between the two cultures was striking. I wonder if perhaps there had been a communication or commerce between the two cultures in earlier times. Maybe Keta's people were even descendants of the Denis. It pleases me to think so. Okay, and there's the thing that we had seen. Note, it's possible if I were somehow able to supply the books with a power source of sufficient magnitude, I could suppress the variance enough to facilitate a solid link. It is doubtful that geothermal cap generators could provide such an enormous surge. Perhaps I could adapt the fire marbles. Ah. Okay. So the fire marble dome, though, but they're... I don't understand what they are. Alright, well, anyway. I have been cataloging the natural elements of this age for nearly 30 years now, yet still I continue to find evidence of the Denis' preoccupation with fine? As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number... Oh, 5! As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number 5 had special significance to the Denis society, from the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners. It was ubiquitous. Its presence here is obviously a direct reflection of the minds that designed the texts that I used to compose this age. Further proof that through their art, the Denis masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely building links to pre-existing worlds. While most of my constructions here have been based on Denis designs, I see now that the ones that I have imbued with the power of 5 are clearly the most beautiful, the most perfect, and I believe the most structurally sound. Interesting. Okay. I'm still attempting to determine how the Denis color symbology reflects this superior design principle. Although superficially it is based on a 6-color system, I'm convinced there has to be a deeper connection to 5. I will continue to investigate. Okay, so these must be the different symbols. And colors? These must be colors, because they talk about colors. Okay, I finally made a breakthrough. I've succeeded in modifying the fire marbles to generate enough power to hold a descriptive linking book in a stable matrix. I've linked to a new world. It is a harsh and desolate age, but is nonetheless well suited for my purposes. And so I have designated it my... $90. Okay, that's 9, and then 8. Wouldn't it be 98th? I mean, I guess it's technically 3rd. So 9, 8, 3rd, or whatever. By studying it closely, I believe I will eventually be able to create a more appropriate age for us to resettle on. For now, I will build an office and set up my living quarters there, in order that I may conduct my experiments in safety and without distraction. Okay. Well, let me write these down. Okay, so we have... let's say colors. I don't know. Okay, so let's make a big circle. We'll make 6 circles. Okay, 6. I don't know if these are in order, but I'm writing it down anyway because I feel like that's probably important. Okay, so all right, and then just a straight line across. I'll just say colors. Colors? Question mark. Dot in the middle. Just a dot in the middle. Vertical and... okay. And then, okay, let's see. Excuse me. I must admit I am proud of my work. To think in such primitive conditions I've accomplished in 29 years what it took the original Denis centuries to achieve. Note, repair outerwear for work on this world. The goggles may need to be redesigned altogether. 84-4-13. Yeah, so this must be years. I've begun construction on a series of link sites for each island that will connect Riven with my new office on whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna, you know, draw this anyway. Gehn's new world? Question mark. Yeah, so presumably they're setting up like another sequel, right? Like he's not here. Maybe he's, I mean, I doubt he's actually here, but he'll probably, at the end, he'll probably flee to this place. Who knows? Okay, the Survey Guild has finally completed the site location for each island according to my exact specifications, and installation of the domes is underway at last. Work on the central power source got off to a bit of a bad start, I'm afraid, but the pace has picked up considerably since then, and I anticipate no further delays. I'm looking forward to finally having a civilized mode of transportation. Wait, are we not on Riven? Are we on whatever this place is? And this is different. Or was it rotated? No, I think these were flipped. Either way. Due to the rebels' continued disturbances, I've decided to install a coded access system into all the domes. Okay, I feel like we should probably write this down. I'll put it on the same page as the written stuff. Let's put it at the bottom, I guess. Okay, so okay. Oh, see, this is different, right? Right, these are all new. Okay, and then so what does the line at the bottom mean? That's like a 10, right? Or I don't know. Oh, and see, that one's weird. The fourth one? Okay, because it's... And then the last one... Okay, so we'll say coded access system for domes. Yeah, weird. Alright. Caught one of my assistants looking over the journal today. I'm glad I've chosen to write it in a language they cannot decipher. Note, discuss security with each guild master. No problems expected from the maintainers, educators, and surveyors. Question the bookmakers and builders more closely. Okay, so there's 5 guilds. 861024. Today I heard several more reports of spirit sightings by some of the villagers. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or the Black Moiety? For a second I was like, wait, the Black Moisty? Moisty? Moiety? I think that's Moiety. As the villagers obstinately insist on referring to them, have attained a new level of sophistication in their terror tactics, and have renewed their campaign to intimidate the villagers into joining them, playing upon their shared superstitions. The villagers are certainly susceptible to this form of coercion, especially given of late the rebels' increasing acts of vandalism and theft. 87-115. The Y-tram traps have been steadily fruitful this year. Apparently the breakup of the islands has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystems. Oh, weird. So the islands are connected underground? Underwater? Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are experiencing a similarly generous harvest. No shortage of poison for their darts this season. Is that what the frogs are? Poison dart frogs? They're red. Such morbid issues aside, the sudden availability has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract from my pipe, one that is smoother than any of the others from recent years. So he smokes the frogs. Or some extract from them. 87.329. Chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. Its composition contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears they have access to a resource of which I am unaware, perhaps a mine or an uncharted island. Note, most of the knives have been found on the south side of the village. This is the same area in which there have been reports of people mysteriously disappearing. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. The fact they leave these distinctive knives as a sign of their presence concerns me. They're growing more bold and seem to no longer fear discovery of their hideout. 87.627. The latest measurements indicate the recent trend has continued. The movement of the islands has slowed tremendously. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months. With the new figures, I am uncertain. I've nearly finished writing the blank age, which I assume is that 8? No, 9. 99th age, and I have every faith it will indeed be a safe place for us to relocate to. Yet it would be helpful to know what has caused the halt in this age's breakup. I assume it's Atris, right? He's trying to stabilize everything. Is it possible that it's still stable after all? If so, I must discover how this age differs from my less successful attempts. My examinations of the blank age have thus far proven inconclusive. Or perhaps someone is repairing the damage to the fifth age. If so, it would almost certainly be Atris' doing. I've reluctantly decided to abandon my experiments into the behavior of the water of this age, as there are more pressing matters on which I must now concentrate. Leave me little time for such speculative research. For future reference, however, my investigations up to this point have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the water to be caused by a life form that resides in it, specifically a type of bacteria. I'm imagining a motile unicellular organism, but one with structures capable of holding bits of water, whose combined effect, via surface tension, a stronger force, causes the composite body of water to move in response to heat. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, for example, a period of extended boiling, seems to kill the bacteria, which would explain its dramatic aversion to heat sources. Unfortunately, these theories are still not fully tested, and I remain ignorant both of its deeper nature and its possible uses. This is a lot of backstory. We'll probably stop after this. But just the fact that I'm writing down, like, the colors, because I remember, like, some grid... like seeing some grid puzzle with marbles or whatever, little dots, and it's like not just the location but the color as well. And so anyway, 8776, an exciting development last night. A squad of maintainers stumbled upon a lone rebel scout and obtained from him a most incredible device. It is a crystal that somehow powers these flawed linking books, much as my own system does, with an obvious advantage. It is small and weighs only a few pounds, making it completely portable. Catherine must have fabricated the device before I captured her, obviously with an explicit Denis schematic she must have brought with her to this age. If only I'd had access to such a document all these years. Regardless, I can now concentrate solely on the writing of ages and need no longer worry about building elaborate power supplies for each new book I write. This is a sobering reminder, however, that I must continue to seek an avenue to Denis. Regaining access to the resources there may be crucial to the completion of my mission. So yeah, these guys are basically... what is it? They're standing on the shoulders of giants, basically, right? Like, they found... Denis is like this... It's sort of like the post-apocalyptic civilization that built all this technology and then whatever, disappeared. And so these guys they figured out how to use it and how to replicate it and, improve on it sometimes. And so whatever this is the thing that powers the book. Okay. Let's stop here. Because that was a lot. Oh, that's not. That was a lot. Why would you have the vent blowing air right above where you're writing? You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. Really do appreciate it. Really hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. Yeah, it's a short one, but that was a lot. It was a lot. It felt like a lot. It was a whole book that we read. So, yeah. It's not bad. I kind of enjoy writing down the clues and stuff and like, what's this? And trying to puzzle things out. But yeah. As always, questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent. If I didn't thank you already for your time and attention, then thank you guys. But yeah, questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent. Let me hear them. I do read all of them. I do try and respond to all of them as well. What is your guys' unique positive moment for today? For me, I was going to say that I went into my, I guess it's kind of like a linen closet, whatever, in the bathroom, but I've like all the towels in there and all the extra toiletries and stuff, right? Like, so, you know, you buy the 2-pack of toothpaste, you're only using one, but you have the second one for whatever, or an extra thing of deodorant in case you run out first thing in the morning. You're like, oh no, you know, you don't want to have to go to the store when you run out. But I went in there for some band-aids because I've, you know, got some I'm allergic to the surgical gloves apparently, and that's not a problem. The problem is it itches and then I scratch it and that makes it so much worse. Instead of just taking Benadryl or something, I guess. I don't know. But maybe I'll see if they can switch the gloves to a non-allergic one, but we'll see. So yeah, went in there for some band-aids and all of a sudden Jack comes out of the shadows because he was just chilling in there lying on some of the towels, and I'm like, you're pretty adorable. You're super adorable. So that's my unique positive moment. Hopefully your guys just as good, if not better. Hopefully better, of course. Hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care.